In June, I told you about the Ebola outbreak taking place in West Africa. Things are getting even worse. After the first reported cases in Guinea at the start of the year, about 340 people died from Ebola, and we now have even worse numbers. Those were the numbers previously. At least 1,500 people have not yet been traced who are known to have come in contact with others confirmed or suspected to be infected with Ebola. Many more could be moving freely in the three countries that are battling this outbreak, which are Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone. The current outbreak is now up to 467 deaths, 292 other suspected or confirmed cases. Ebola is transmitted when people come into contact with the bodily fluids of an infected person. There is no cure, and as many as 90% of the victims die, often from uncontrollable internal and external bleeding. This is absolutely horrific. West African health ministers have started a two-day emergency summit in Accra, the Ghanaian capital, to improve coordination of their response to Ebola. Lewis, this is getting worse and worse. And when you look at, we've talked about the 21-day incubation period, which means from the day you are infected to the day that you first show symptoms, 21 days can elapse. And during that time, you can spread this to many, many people with this 90% death rate for victims. This is just an absolute disaster.
It's a terrifying, terrifying illness. And I mean, I'd like to think that there are groups of people trying to come up with a cure, not necessarily just trying to contain it. But it's a huge problem. I really hope that it doesn't spread to other countries.
We also have some really bad news in terms of what may be responsible for this outbreak. And a lot of people aren't going to like to hear this. The coal rollers are certainly not going to like to hear this. Researchers believe that butchering and eating infected bushmeat, like bat or gorilla, usually are the first exposure to infected animal blood. Okay, so why is there so much exposure to that infected blood? What's becoming clearer is that human activity, deforestation, is actually having a major role in these initial outbreaks of diseases like Ebola, because humans are having to, because of deforestation, they are venturing farther and farther out into forest, which puts more pressure on local ecosystems. There's diamond mining, there's just the deforestation and the taking down of the trees, and this is concentrating species into smaller and smaller parts of the forest. They now have more of a struggle to find food. Infection becomes more prevalent. They are compressed into even smaller geographical areas, and there are more humans around. So the deforestation, the diamond mining, the precious metals mining, this is connected to the Ebola outbreak.
So what you're saying is that we are doing this to ourselves, much like we are perhaps causing the ice caps to melt and the oceans to rise, et cetera, et cetera.
That's right. Deforestation drives bats to find new habitats close to human populations. Normally, humans would not be at this level of close contact with bats. It's just one thing after another that we're finding out that we are doing to ourselves. And do you really think now, in the middle of this, it's easy to turn this around? We're so deep into this entire way of life, Lewis, on this planet, that there is no easy fix here, unfortunately. I wish I could be bringing you better news on this.
No, it seems that that we're in serious trouble. The only fix are going to be incredible. The only fixes are going to be incredible scientific breakthroughs that make it so that we don't need all of the natural resources we're destroying, unfortunately.